Okay, it's all
Great.
yours.
Great. So for the speaker, does it work better for on the owl or on my computer?
Probably the owl. I
The
think
owl.
people will hear you better.
Okay,
Has a
great,
really good mic.
great, great. I'll share my screen. Get started. Great. Okay, everyone. In case you don't know me, my name is Pingfan. I am a PhD candidate in George Washington University, and my advisor is Professor John Hobson, who will arrive pretty soon. So today is kind of a semi-casual presentation because I didn't prepare any slides.
Good.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hi.
Super late, sorry.
this is Brian, by the way, from IT.
Hey, actually, nice to meet you.
And we have Mike online and help do a lot of stuff.
This is the master blog set here. Yes.
Yeah. So well, you're right on time because I just got started. So yeah, it's just a kind of a presentation or summarization of my most three recent blog posts. And if you guys are interested, this is the I'll share the links. I will share the link and right here. Okay. So today I gotta talk about agentic engineering, a fancy word. So everything started with this motivation or my anxiety. So this meme is very, very popular. So like every day I wake up, there is something new in the AI world. And the meme on the right side is especially for Claude. Like every time, very frequently when I wake up, most of the updates are from Claude. And the Anthropic, they do updates so frequently that their newer updates will overwhelm or will cover the earlier updates. So I think that produces anxiety for like nearly everyone who works in technology and AI and related stuff. So then that motivated me to collect all that I learned and my experiences and then write down into something and maybe someday I can share. So today, well, that's the motivation of my presentation. So I want to start with like two big categories of AIs, like AI assistants versus AI agents. And the TLDR is that AI assistants are the AI apps that you might be using. For example, ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini. You just open a browser or open your desktop app, and then you can just chat with it. So that's chat only, and that's just a one-shot prompt to responses. And I would say that that's my main way of using AI because I might have a lot of questions asking AI, and that replaces my Google search. But there's an advanced way of using AI. It's called AI agents. So I intentionally put all the same logos because just these are just the three main AI companies. So for OpenAI, they have Code X, and for Anthropic, that's Claude Code, and for Google, that's Gemini CLI. And all of them have the CLI version, and also they have the app version. And they are kind of the same. For example, I can open Claude, and here I have Claude Code, and this is the app version, but I can also open my CLI. I say that Claude, then this is the CLI version. Come on. Okay, here you go. Yeah, so they are kind of the same. And I just personally prefer to use the CLI version, but it doesn't make any difference. So then let's move on to Claude Code because this is the like main AI agent that I've been using. So this is a hyperlink that teaches you how to install the Claude Code CLI. It's pretty simple, just install it. For example, this is how to install using Homebrew. Just copy and paste this code to your terminal. And then you can just CD to your project and then start launching your Claude Code. And in my showcase, I just launched Claude Code from my home directory. And on, I also want to mention that it really makes a difference where you launch Claude Code. So if you just want to use it for general purpose, then go to home directory. But if you want to work on a specific project, CD to a project, then launch Claude Code. And so for launching Claude Code, well, there are two different ways. One way is using terminal, which is what I'm doing right now. And the other way is to use IDE. And there are like a lot of different IDEs. I personally prefer Positron because that's built for data scientists. And this is it. This is Positron. For example, I can open, for example, this is my website. And then in the terminal, I can just type Claude. Oh, sorry, Claude. Then it opens Claude Code for me. So in this way, I do not need to CD something because I'm just on my project, on my directory. So it's simpler to use IDE, I would say. And then like that's how you launch. And then like these are all the basics. Like if you can locate to your project, see your project your file tree and open up your files and then have the Claude Code running side by side, then you're like mostly ready. Like you can start your agentic engineering using Claude Code and directly working on your project directory. And yeah, that's kind of what most people do. But then if we move on, we start to have like learn the like the interest or the fun part of the agentic engineering. So the reason why Anthropic or any other AI companies make a agent different, which is different from the just chatbot, is that you can have a lot of advanced capabilities. So this is just a direct copy and paste from this great guy. I don't know what his real name is. His name is TW93. Maybe he's born in 993. So yeah, so there are 6 layers for agents. So the first layer is the Claude.md or rules or memory. So these are the things that directly related with your project, and you can find them. For example, on my website project, now there is a Claude.md file, and you do not write this MD file on your own. You just say init. And yeah, init. And then when you run this code, if there is no Claude.md file, it will generate for you. If there is an existing one, then Claude Code will try to update based on your most recent architecture. And for the other agents, it's called agent.md. I don't know why Anthropic uses a special name, but this is how it goes. All the other companies use agent.md and Anthropic just use Claude.md. And it takes some time to run. And if there is an update, it will update for you. And then also rules and memories can be found somewhere here. I think that's found the Claude, and then there is a root here. And if there's a memory, then there is also a memory folder here. Then there are a lot of more interesting things like tools and MCP. MCP means that you can connect to a server, which is a protocol. So MCP is just another type of HTTP. So it allows you to connect to your server and do something for you. Skills, hooks, sub agents, verifiers are these. So it takes time to explain everyone, but essentially these are just the capabilities that works either semi-automatically or just works on its own to help you finish your job. For example, the skills are the / commands that you can use to do something for example, finish a full routine for you. And for me, I install a lot of skills. For example, I can go to my personal directory, go to Claude, and then in Claude, I have the skills. I have installed a lot of skills here. So, and yeah, and I create skills as well. Like all my skills start with P8, which is my initial. So that is like they align, they're here saved together because it's alphabetical. And I can call them just, for example, I can say that I want to create an HTML content. So I'll just go to Positron and say that create an HTML content for me using the PHHTML skill. And if the skill is true, it will turn purple. If it's not true, then there won't be anything change, and Claude just ask you what is the scale name you're talking about. So yeah, and so let's move on. So a typical cloud code setup might look like this. Like this is pretty inclusive. Not every project looks like this, and but this one possible version of it. Like you have Cloud Markdown file in your root directory, and then under the Cloud directory you have your rules, your skills, your agents, etc. And then I want to talk about the differences between like the three terms: vibe coding, agentic engineering, and harness design. So I would say 3 years ago when like when AI emerged, we talk a lot about vibe coding. So it's like drawing a card. You do not need to write any code, and you just let AI do it, meaning using the chatbot. Like you feed any file to the AI, or you just write some prompt, then you let AI generate something for you. But it's so randomized. Like you gotta do the things over and over again until you get your final result. And it's not consistent. Like next time you want to produce something similar, you still gotta draw the card again until you get lucky and you draw the right card. So it's so randomized, not consistent, and it costs a lot of tokens because every time you have a conversation, everything's like starts over from scratch. And then we kind of moved on to agentic engineering. Like this term has been emerging. So what I just talked about is like my understanding of agentic engineering, which means you define your working directory. Under this working directory, you summon Claude Code or any other agents, and you let the agents to understand your context, your project, and everything for you. And then, so in this case, you do not need to tell the agent over and over again what I am doing. You can directly prompt it to do the job for you. So I remember 2 years ago when when we were about to start the Servidum project, which is our little software, like service software with JP. And every time when I start a new conversation with Claude, by then there is no Claude code, just Claude. I need to paste what this project is about, what am I gonna do to Claude. So I always have a simple paragraph ready. And every time I want to start a new conversation, then I just copy and paste so that Claude can understand basically what is happening. And then I prompt furthermore to finish the job. So that's the difference between vibe coding and currently where we at agentic engineering, so that the agents can do the job for you without you telling it too much because it has context. And then the emerging or the next step which is also trending, it's called harness design, and I bet you all have heard it from somewhere. So the word harness is a little bit. So I think harness means the like all the things that you use to ride a horse, right? If I understand it correctly. So in my understanding, harness design is kind of you are driving the agents. So agentic engineering, as I just showed, it's one single agent finish the job finish one job, and then you need to post process and you need to decide like if this job is correct or not. And even though with some consistency, you still got to run several times. But for harness design, it's something like you can summon different agents. So maybe there is a main agent and there is different sub agents, and then you have pre-processing and then the work and then also the processing, the hooks and the verifiers, everything. So the main agent will just control all the sub agents and do the work and verify for you. And then you later on, for example, can check if the work is totally done. So it's all more automated. And I would say it's pretty time costly to set up a harness design. So I would say that's the near future for the agentic engineering. So that's just a basic intro of my understanding for agentic engineering. So that's my like blog post number one. And the part two is that like when I know everything about the current design of AIs, I start to panic because it's too much happening. And it takes time to totally consume and learn how to set up my agents, set up my, for example, design the skills and how to use it well. And at the same time, my learning speed might be slower than the creativity of the AI companies. So the speed of my catching up is slower than than the speed of creating the new AI tools. So I'm always behind. So that's why I'm panic. So I quoted, well, here are 10 skills that the Anthropic team has been using. Here are 5 AI tools to boost up your productivity. And there was so many, different trending posts. If you go to, for example, Twitter, which is X, then you might see a lot of these. And so when I realized, like, there was maybe 1 week and continuously, I go to X every day and I saved and marked all the trending skills and the recommendations. And then I realized, well, I do not even have the time to read through it. There's just so many. So I think I need to step back and then really think, how can I work with it? So I quoted one post from Andre, and who said everyone has the developing flow. So there is no correct way of using AI agents. And instead of following all the KOLs on Twitter, it's much better for you to sit down to think like what you can do with AI and just pace by pace, little by little. So my open advice for this part two is don't panic. Build your own AI workflows whenever you need them, adapt the general purpose skills that catch your eye or build from scratch. So before we jump into how to use AI efficiently, I want to start with learn to speak. Because this is from a very famous presentation or lecture from the MIT. The professor's name is Patrick Winston. And so his opening phrase is that your success in life will be determined largely by your ability to speak, your ability to write, and the quality of your ideas, and in that order. So even though you have a very strong AI agent, it is your idea that matters. And so that, and then when we move on to AI coding, what is important is that how you prompt, how you speak to AI, because the quality of the AI output is largely defined by how structured your words are and how clear that you can describe to AI about your job. So then also I want to start from the structure tree. So this is my version. My understanding of how to digest the components. So we have context, capabilities, behaviors, and the agent. So it's just another version of the table that I showed you before. I won't go through them again, but this is basically my understanding. You can have your own version if you want. So I want to still start with the Claude.md file. So this file is a general Claude.md file that is under my home directory. So it's is here. So this is under my home directory, so that your home directory Claude.md file applies to all of your Claude Code sessions. So every time you open the session from anywhere, that applies. So it's kind of a top level or high level regulation for your agents, so that every time you summon an agent from anywhere, they follow these rules. So it should be high level and precise, so that it regulates, like it teaches your agent to work in your expected way. And I think like I've been polishing it a lot, so I would say it might be beneficial to the audience. So I just provided it here. So if you're interested, you can read through and copy and paste. And then also the rules directory. The rules directory live on your Claude directory. It can either be under your home directory or under your project directory. So this is my example of building my website. Like I use these rules, and this is an older version. I changed it to skills already. But like for example, when you see that my code chunks looks like this, it's a very nice UI, and also the HTML contents I can hover over. And also if I narrow it down, imagine this is a cell phone screen, it changes. So I have two versions. And also I can toggle between light mode and dark mode. So this is dark mode. And you see the code chunk, the code blocks become light mode. So there is a contradictory. So all these are easily accomplished by AI, by my rules, and it's consistent. So every time when I want to create something, I just summon that rules, or right now it's skills. So like that's one example of the power of agentic engineering. You can consistently produce anything. This is the HTML content. You can create graphs. And for example, my banner image, all these banner images are also created using the same workflow. So it's pretty handy, pretty efficient. Then
And
let's
did Claude write your skills files for you to, or
Oh.
did you actually write them?
It's a pretty good question. So my workflow is that I will work with Claude Code to at least finish one example for me. For example, say that this is my first production. I didn't have skills, I didn't have rules. I just say that I want to like produce something, and then like this is the outcome. Then when this is kind of done, I'm really happy with it. I will say, well, Claude, I'm really happy with this. Please write me a rule just following this so that I can massively produce something in future. So yeah, well that's my way of doing it. Yeah. So but if you start from scratch, like without producing anything, saying to Claude, like I want to produce some HTML content with the purple and lavender background with some hover over, it might create something for you. But since there is no example, then it still takes you some time to purify it, to fine tune it into something that you want. So my experience is that I always start with one example, and when this is done, I'm satisfied. Then I create a skill or a rule out of it. But like I said, there's no unique way of using it. It's just like my personal preference.
I've done the same with data viz. Like I have very strong preferences on how I like to make charts.
Yeah.
And so I just showed it like one of my projects that had like a bunch of charts in it.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Build me a skill that uses ggplot in that way.
Yeah, yeah,
And now
exactly.
every time I ask it to make a chart, it uses the theme, it uses the right fonts that I like. Like it's just so nice if you have an example that you might have handwritten first.
Mhm.
Then the skill itself you can edit, but it pretty much nails it.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah. So yeah, well, actually, this is my intended next step. So if you're interested, you can build on your own. So these are the things you can build. You can install some plugins. You can install or build your own rules, and you can call the APIs. For example, I think my project, yeah. So these banners of my projects are all built using Nano Banana. So the workflow is that I use Claude Code to call the API. Well, you do not directly feed any API to Claude Code. You can save the API as a variable and feed the variable to Claude Code. And you can also write into your Claude.markdown file, like never directly paste my API, something like this. Because if you don't say it, then Claude might directly use the API, push your API to your repository, and then you will get a warning. Yeah. And the truth is, if you go to GitHub and search for example, OpenAI underscore API, you will find a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't know this. Like they directly use the API. They did not create a variable, and then the API is just open to the public. And your API is your key to, for example, to your bank card. So it's really dangerous. Anyway, so use the API, save it as a variable, and then you can use it. So the workflow here is that I use a skill from on Cloud Code. I didn't build it, like it's already on market. This skill uses your Google API, and then that uses the Nano Banana model to create all this banner for you. And the good thing about this is that usually you need to prompt it very precisely how to build the build the banner image. So if you're directly using NanoBanana. So the beautiful thing about how to use Claude, about using Claude Code is that you can let Claude Code, for example, the server down project I have, I can just feed this HTML page or the QMD page to Claude. I say, well, I want to build a banner image for this project. Please summarize it and then describe what needs to be done in to the NanoBanana agent, and then let it do it for you. So Claude Code will write for you how to build the image. So every content in the image, for example, essentially Survey Down turns a QMD file into a survey. Oh, sorry, into QMD file into a survey, and then saves the survey results into PostgreSQL. So that's the workflow. So if I need to describe it on my own, that will be kind of kills my brain cells. So the Claude Code will do it for you. Very precise and polished description. So it's kind of AI talking to AI, and you don't need to do anything more. So I am a gatekeeper. It's still a join the card. So agentic engineering doesn't save you from joining the card, but it's more like relatively more consistent. So you can see all the themes are kind of consistent. So I have the names on the left. There is a plot on the right, and the background are kind of in the same taste, and it's multicolored. So and the plots or the images, they're kind of similar in taste. And so that's basically part two. And for part three, it's just recommendations of the softwares and platforms I've been using. So I've been using Obsidian. It's a markdown-based editor, and I've been using it for like a lot of years. It's been around for maybe 4 or 5 years. And the beauty of Obsidian is that it's basically a markdown file, but it renders live. For example, I better show it. For example, this is a pure English. So, for example, the link here is a second level header. But if you do not click on it, see it renders and does not show the hashtag. So it live renders, but you can also edit. And this is a table, like it live renders all the markdown file for you. And the Obsidian calls it a vault. So actually it's just a folder. If you go into your Obsidian directory here, so it's just a folder containing all the markdown files, and this is very, very simple. So I would say the number one tool that I've been using for note taking is Obsidian. And then Spokenly is recommended by JP. So it's a very smart
We
voice.
do a whole one on just Spokenly. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. So it releases your hand from typing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
press
touch.
one button and then you can maybe
Just
I-
demo.
That's how I like to interact with.
Yeah,
it.
I can demo it.
Yeah,
Cool.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
the thing that's amazing about this is it adds an AI layer in between. So you
Yeah.
can have all these different commands that takes your speech and converts it into like
Yeah.
a different format.
Oh.
You like make this a formal email to like someone important.
Yeah.
And it will change what it said. And
Yeah.
it removes all the ums and whatnot, it's
Yeah.
do it.
Okay, I want to write a formal email to my professor saying that what?
Sick of it.
Thank you for telling me about Spokenly.
Thank you for telling me about Spokenly. I want to write a formal email. Thank you. Yeah, this is it. So
Yeah.
yeah, so there was an AI layer. So right now it's using GPT-4.0. So it's very smart. And so my current workflow becomes something like I open up my IDE. I have my project open. I have the files open or not. I can open it to see how the files look like, and then I summon the Claude Code, and then instead of typing, I just talk. So this is my my workflow. I believe same is true for JP. So this like really convenient and efficient.
Mm.
Yeah. So let's go back to Spokenly, and then Positron. This is what I'm using right now. And then this this little guy is called kaku. It's a Japanese word, means writing or sketching. So that's an open source terminal. And one comment about Kaku that I saw is that it seems like some guy has been working 40 hours for you so that this terminal has really nice layout and a lot of components. For example, I can open up a new window, say that, yeah. So this is one component inside it so that you can see your directories and yeah, and you can go to it.
Oh, so it improves your terminal,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah,
It's
it
just a
improves
much
your terminal.
nicer term.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the layout, for example, I can also say, I think it's config, Kaku config. Yes. So see if I wrote something before, there was an grayscale prompt for me. I just press right key and then it finishes for me and then enter. So these are all the configs. For example, I can change it to light and then ESC. Then right now it's the light theme. And it's so like pretty beautiful, but I still prefer the dark theme. So let's go back to dark. Yeah. And yeah, so these are just the two recommendations from me. And yeah. And then also the extensions you can install or build on your own. And one thing that I like very much is this everything Cloud Code plugin. And it literally contains like everything you might use. And you might need to customize it. And right now, this guy has how many stars? 165K stars. These are like all these guys, they might not use it every day, but you can see how much, at least from my perspective of view, how much panic that AI brings to us. Like we all want to catch up, we all want to use the most fancy tools. Yeah. And also plugins official, that's the official tools provided by Anthropic. And I use these guys and they help me a lot at managing and reviewing and simplify and my work, my code and everything. And for the MCPs, so I'm not a big fan of MCPs, so I use it only based on my need because MCPs consume tokens very, very fast. So for example, on Obsidian, you can also use MCP. And there's another notebook taking app called Craft. They only provide MCP. So by editing same thing, if you use an MCP, you cost token like 10 times faster. So use it wisely. And then the skills. So this is a recent skill called Waza. Waza is also, I realize it's Japanese. It means skills. So this Chinese guy, he's a really big fan of Japanese stuff. And so the 6 skills: think, design, hunt, check, read, write, learn, and health. So these are the 8 skills that I've been using constantly in my workflow, and it helps me a lot. So, and right now, this is just my like a brief intro of my journey. So when I started my PhD career like 3 or 4 years ago, and that time was like pre-LLM, and I had to handwrite everything on my own. And then the early LLMs, I started to do by coding, and right around right now is agentic engineering. So I kind of experienced everything, and so yeah, it's just my own sharing. And so as a conclusion, I want to talk about this quote again. Your success in life will be determined by your ability to speak, your ability to write, and the quality of your ideas in that order. So right now, in AI era, there is a trend that we massively produce a lot of things, but we do not read. So yesterday, OpenAI has released Image 2.0, and that's so powerful so that you can create a lot of information like posters, sliders, stuff. And there was an interesting question raised yesterday. How many people read through all this information? No one. Nobody reads. So right now it's kind of becoming a trend that I massively produce AI products using AI, but I do not think and I do not read. So I'm afraid of this. So that I would say that even using AI, it is your ability to speak, to write and the quality of your ideas that matters. So, and this is my my goodbye word, my last word. So never let the LLMs take over thinking, which is your responsibility. Okay, so I think that's all for my presentation. Thanks so much.
It's great. Great job. Love it. I feel like you should just make this a regular lecture for like everyone. Everyone at all of GW, not just C's, like the whole school needs to know these things.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you to
people
come
know this
to get
stuff.
this, because we're doing a 2-day workshop for the DT students.
Yeah.
And it's all about getting them to the point of thinking in terms of like how to build harnesses for their LLM use in their research.
Yeah.
And to think about it is more than just like I go to ChatGPT and ask it to write me code.
Yeah.
But how to think like, how do I build an environment around my research
Yeah.
that allows my LLM to be truly supportive of my research idea?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll talk to you about that.
Cool.
It's in May, so like 3 weeks from now.
Mike, you want to say something? It looks like.
Yeah, Pingfan, this is great. Every time I hear you talk, it's fantastic, and this really drives home some of the architecture around Claude Code and Agentic AI. Would you have any interest in putting together a synthesis activity for the OSSI? Basically, a cookbook kind of thing that we could take and actually play with to, move some of the less AI-friendly or AI-learned individuals who are doing research forward. That would be probably end of June, early July.
Oh, cool.
I feel like you could take your blog posts and have Claude build a Corda website book, like in a matter of 30 minutes and then another 30 minutes to make it look really pretty. And then
Probably
have that.
I'll do it.
Because you've got so much content already in the post, it's really good stuff. And
yeah, I'll do it. Yeah.
Hearing this though, like I don't feel confident that I could repeat everything. I feel
like
I would want
having that cookbook would really help. I think
it would help, but
I
would love to have this be one of the courses, one of the days where he can present this, and then we get 45 minutes where we try it to build it our own, and he's there to like.
That's what I was saying. Was like I think it was quite seriously should be something of a workshop where you introduce these ideas, but then you immediately have them. Okay, so now install it on your machine, put a skill together, and practice that skill really quickly.
Like a workshop.
Yeah, an actual workshop.
That's what we're doing the 2 days to do, but that's for a very small group.
And I have to emphasize how new this is. I mean, like even like December, we were not doing it the same way.
Yeah.
We were using Claude Code, but the formality of skills and things was just emerging. And like this was 4 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, just 4 months.
It's so quick. And so who knows if by the fall the skills will still be there, but I think they will. I think these things are lasting. They're sort of hardened structures that are starting to make sense. The one thing I was gonna also suggest you add, just because we're recording this, is can you show the symlink idea real quick? Because another thing that's challenging is managing all these skills. Yeah. And so if you have a skill in every single project folder, you're copying and pasting these skills everywhere. But you can put it at sort of a global level, and you can manage your skills through a repo on GitHub. So you have one place that has all your skills as you update them over time. Yeah. And they're all symlinked to where they need to be on your computer so that every project has access to them. And that is how I have it set up, and I know you do too. It's a really good way to do it.
Actually, yeah. So that our conversation kind of inspired me to do this. So here I am under my GitHub repository. Actually, it's just a directory. A directory. So I have a personal repository, and in this repository, I have a skills folder. So these are the real files of my skills. For example, this is a my name app published. So I'm also building some Mac apps. For example, this is my little app that also live rendered all the Markdown files. Works exactly the same as Obsidian, and you can see there were code version, editing version, and reading version, which prevented you from editing. So see, this is also synchronized, and I can also open in Obsidian. So this app needs a very lengthy publication process which is kind of regulated by Apple. It's very kind of lengthy. And if you're going to do it on your own, it's not wise to do so because it's just so much. So this skill contains all the instructions. And then I built the skill inside my personal directory, but I do not want to paste it everywhere. And the next time I update, I need to update all of them. So the idea is that under my Claude folder, which is this folder, and in this folder, I have the skills folder. And here, these are all the symlinks. So the workflow is that I create the skills in my designated repository so that I can synchronize with my GitHub and also my other computers. I have 2 computers, and then I can also work between different work in different projects. So the idea is that I create the skills here, but I create symlinks in my home directory here, so that what makes it valuable is that every time I want to create new skills or update my skills, I only update the real files in my repository. So even though this computer is gone, I sold this computer, I buy another computer, as long as I have my GitHub repository, which I can manage, then I can always use the latest version of the skills.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the idea of Symlink.
So I mean, the other thing is there's just like a marketplace of skills now. I mean, if you're whatever you're working in, there's like I do data work in R, and so there's like all these tidyverse skills and ggplot skills, and so you find everyone's doing the same workflow where you find their repository that has their personal skills. You look through them, and even companies, like Posit has its own set of skills now. And it's so you just copy those right into your repo, and now you have that skill and update it, to your taste. So.
What we were talking about is
wonderful.
So we had the AI ethics potluck on Tuesday or Monday sometime this week. And one of the things that came up though was around like what are going to be the IP considerations around skills. And like when you leave a job, will you be able to take those skills with you? And like even your persona, like so all of these are building a memory file of you. And if you're using your work computer, do you get the right to take those files with you, or does that property belong to the university?
That's why you make it open source.
For
Yeah, I mean, the answer is open source. But yeah, there might be certain skills that are like a corporate skill for.
Like, how do you put it force into Banner?
Yeah.
If someone develops that skill but then leaves, GW wants to own that skill that they developed, just like if they developed a process for how to do something within our systems. I feel like there's going to be this whole area of considerations around what is your IP when you leave and move to jobs and what stays at the job, which has always been there. I mean, this is not new, but it's just another layer of this.
And I feel like that is like, first of all, like kind of almost impossible to enforce because I mean, where do you draw the line on infringement? Is anybody ever going to litigate this? Like at some point you're like, well, if I just remembered the entire set of instructions myself and I can vaguely regurgitate them into an LLM, then it can rebuild the skill. And at that point, now it's something new. I mean, the same thing is happening with open source software. Like people take a whole package. You can take pandas, hand it to Claude, say rewrite pandas for R or something, or another language, and now you have pandas in that language. Or rewrite it just differently. And so now I don't have to use their actual license because now it's mine. I mean, like, so if you can rewrite it, I don't know how that gets held up in a court of saying this is IP infringement. But the other thing I was thinking though is what you just saw, like the value of these skills is this is becoming like really critical for your own open source software. So if you develop a package and you want more people to use it, create skills for their package and watch people use it. I mean, like we haven't done this yet, but I'm planning on doing this for SurveyDown of just having a giant folder of skills. Okay, if you want to make a survey using SurveyDown that has this, well, so far we've created all these templates for people. Yeah, we could just be like, make a map interactive survey, just use the map skill, SD map or whatever. And exactly. Now Claude knows everything. It has the full template, so you can create that. So your open source software can be so much more accessible to people. They don't have to fully read and understand the docs if Claude has been handed examples of how it works. And now your AI tools are smarter. They know that package more than just reading the docs themselves.
So
So
are you getting any attribution for
we
that?
haven't started this, right? But like,
No, but if you do that, well,
I feel like
SurveyDown won't get any credit for that.
yeah, I wouldn't care. I would just put it as a part of another repository in the SurveyDown project. Like, here's SurveyDown skills, and it's just part of building open source software. Like
Maybe a repository in the SurveyDown organization.
that's what I mean. Like you have an organization
Yeah.
for your project. Well, create skills for that project
Yes.
and promote that as well alongside the software. And now it's a minimal effort. It's almost like writing the docs is harder than writing skills.
Yeah.
And writing good docs is the traditional way of getting people to use your software. Poor docs, things that are broken, people just aren't going to use it because they say, okay, this is not ready for prime time. But
Yeah.
if you're providing skills, then all of a sudden your software is more accessible to people because this is how they're going to be interacting with it. So I think it's an important piece of just like writing good docs, you
Yeah.
write good skills for your projects and they become more robust and people are using the way you intended.
Do you need to commit to the paid version of Claude to make this worthwhile?
Claude Code is only through Pro, right?
I would say so, yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
So and for Claude specifically, you gotta pay for Claude Code.
Yeah.
Gemini CLI is free, but it's,
For faculty.
For faculty,
Well,
yeah.
I think anyone it can be free for, but like you get so much time on, so many tokens on the good model, and then once you pass like 100,000 tokens, they downgrade you a model. So if you do a long project over a day, you're gonna get to like their worst model, is my understanding.
Code just slowly gets
But if you
worse.
wake up the next morning and start over again, then you're back. You get so many tokens at their best model. Unless you pay, then you can just get there.
I have actually, if I have more time, I have a full workflow of how to use less token. And yeah.
Yeah, well, you
Yeah.
posted.
Yeah, there's a lot of hacks now on ways to reduce token usage.
Yeah.
And
How about using OpenClaw? You explored that yet?
no, not that. Just ways of not being as verbose with Claude. Just the less words you can use, the better. And there are some shortcuts and things. I mean, there's even the caveman talk thing, which is hilarious, where you can teach it to say only speak like a caveman. So it's just like, I build now. It just cuts out every other word, which is half the tokens. And so if you can understand it, it's like finished now, software good, testing. Like it's just like talk to it like a toddler or something, then
But James is
You're
playing with the open source
Mhm.
coding agents.
Yes.
And he's having moderate success, he said, it seemed.
Yeah,
last time I
there's-
talked to him. They're getting better, but they're not quite as good.
You guys haven't played with OpenClaw yet?
no.
Uh,
That's a summer project for me. And also I'm just like terrified of security applications of this one, but
Oh,
I'm
really?
gonna yeah, just
use a computer, use a separate computer that you seldom use, and then, get yourself prepared because it might work. It
might do things and just expose all kinds of
So
things.
like Claude, no? Why it's interesting that you have this fear
I think, well,
for the open source.
Claude
version.
isn't doing, I mean, I haven't given it all the things that it could do. Like, I haven't given it access to like my Gmail, for example, which it could. You could be like, here's my credentials, go write emails for me. But I think that's how most people are using OpenClaw, is they're using it as a personal assistant to manage everything on the computer. So manage their email, manage like their calendars, and that is where it becomes very powerful.
Yeah.
And also a gigantic security risk because it has
You just
access to
expose
everything.
your daily life to a company. Yes.
So if I'm gonna do it, what I'm gonna do is get like a Proton Mail account or something and
Yeah.
and just have my email, kind of filtered, and that's the only one it has access to, so I could experiment with it. But yeah, like these things are very dangerous, I think.
I thought the idea with OpenClaw is that you then have the model and you're running it locally.
You are,
It's
but
it's still
it's still internet connected and it can do,
yeah.
it can, the whole
If
thing
it
makes
can
it
do
powerful is-
interesting things, you have to give
Yeah.
it things to do interesting.
right.
Yeah.
But so Sarah Starr, who's a PhD student, she set up AWS instance environment. And she's running it in there, doing some interesting testing, but she has it all fenced off.
Like
She has a
into-
security background.
Yeah.
So she knows how to make sure it doesn't get out of control. But in theory, yes, Claude or Codex could go into directories that you have asked it not to. But you have to have some level of trust that it's not doing that.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Do you have that trust?
I'm using Codex, so I guess so.
Yeah, I feel like with Claude Code, at least it asks you before it runs every command. It will not just run randomly, like you will say, do you want me to run this command? And you can at least read the command before you hit yes. Or you can just say YOLO, just accept anything, you know, whatever, but I usually kind of do it one by one.
Yeah.
When I'm having it build something for me, so, but OpenClaw, I'm sure you can configure things, but it just, I feel like it is less vetted on there, that like, at least with Anthropic, there is a gigantic company behind it who's incentivized to not let it run rampant. And OpenClaw is like, here you go, here's a model, go do whatever you want. So you have to be the one who's checking all these things, and I don't trust it right now. I have said forever that like as soon as if you can make an agent that I can trustworthy say, just manage my calendar so I never have to fill out a doodle poll ever again in my life, I will pay you $100 a month for that skill. Like I don't care, just that. Like everything else on here, $100 a month. Don't take my money. I never want to fill out a doodle poll. Just tell me when to meet people, and it meets people. If it can get to there, which I think we're close, then I'll do it. You can do that, I think, with OpenClaw.
But like, building a survey tool and you hate doodle polls.
Hate them with a passion. But I think we're maybe 1 or 2 years away from everyone having a personal AI assistant who manages this for you. And what I really want to get to is multimodal, where it can text people and stuff. Because like your Google Calendar never has your whole life on it. It always has most of your life, but like not always. Yeah. And so these agents still can only see what's there. But like imagine it being like, okay, well, I want to meet with Ryan for lunch in a week. And I just say, figure out a time. And it looks at his calendar. And it's like, there's no times, I'll text him for you. And it texts you. And you're like, oh, I have a meeting with my son, so I can't do that. And like, that's not my calendar, right? So then it gets a text back, and it, you know, so like, I think it could get there very quickly if you give it enough access. And then the system just talks with your phones, and you never see anything. And then all of a sudden it's on your calendar next week. And you're like, great. Just, I want to meet with Ryan for lunch, go. And it just, all right, that would be unbelievable if we could achieve that. And all the tools are there, but you got to give it access. And that's what I'm not willing to do yet. Yeah. So give it a year or two or less, and I think we'll get there. I'm really excited about that. If they can figure out the security problems. Yeah, I want that.
Pingfan, that was a great presentation. I really like that you like locked it down into the humanity of it, you know, in the beginning and the end. Going back to like, yes, I'm all for AI if it's helping bring people together.
Yes.
And I'm all nervous about it when it's maybe gonna make us all afraid and less and isolated.
I think this is the only way to approach it. And that's why I don't like the word vibe coding when I'm building something. I just feel like I'm like, well, I created this, but like, no, we checked everything. You know, we didn't not know what we're doing and just like go like this. Like we kind of know what we're doing. We're using this as a tool to streamline things and make.
Well, when you were saying vibe coding's been around for 3 years, I was like, no, it hasn't. It was prompt engineering.
And
Then it became vibe coding.
Yeah.
Vibe coding.
I mixed that. So,
but maybe I think you just like the word engineering better.
Agentic engineering, I think,